Up on UCF Nightly News, we take a look at a new law that would allow Floridians to carry their weapon without a license.
Plus, we'll tell you more about a rising diabetes medication and why it's so hard to find.
Later, see what a team of UCF researchers are doing to help those suffering with PTSD.
In sports, we find out about how our UCF Knights baseball team is preparing for the Insight rivalry with USF.
Nightly News starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Abigail Lafferty.
And I'm Savannah Younger. Today is Friday, March 31st, 2023. Breaking news, the man charged with killing UCF alumnus Dylan Lyons has been indicted by an Orange County grand jury. 19-year-old Keith Moses was charged with first-degree murder for killing Lyons as well as two others, including a 9-year-old girl last month. Moses faces additional charges, including 2 counts of attempted murder and illegal possession of a firearm. Moses maintains his claim of not guilty. His trial is set for this summer.
Former President Donald Trump makes history as the first president to face criminal charges. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office confirmed that the grand jury reached a decision on Thursday to indict Trump. Trump allegedly sent over hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels, made on his behalf during his 2016 presidential campaign. The ex-president faces about 30 criminal counts of document fraud. In a statement, Trump called the investigation a witch hunt and claimed he has done nothing wrong. The indictment is under seal and is expected to be made public in the coming days. The right to bear arms has been in our Constitution since its creation in 1787. United States citizens are allowed to carry their firearms as long as it is concealed and they carry a permit. Here in Florida, legislatures are making an effort to allow a person to carry a concealed firearm without that permit. Let's take a deeper look at the new bill. Yesterday, House Bill 543 was passed in the Senate on a vote of 27 to 13, after being passed in the House last week. UCF political science professor Aubrey Jewett explains what the permitless carry bill will allow.
What this permitless carry bill would allow is that once you legally obtain a weapon, you could then carry it concealed in Florida without getting that permit.
House Speaker Paul Renner said the bill was an effort to, quote, remove the government permission slip. This bill, in which supporters have named constitutional carry. This means the training and background check needed for a concealed weapons permit will no longer be needed. During the legislative session, Democratic Senator Jason Pizzo of Hollywood said, I am in fact not worried about mass shootings with this bill. I'm worried about mass idiots. Republican Senator Ed Hooper of Palm Harbor said in reply, there were mass idiots out there before this bill. There will be mass idiots after this bill. The bill will now move on to Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, who has repeatedly indicated he will sign it. Olivia Scott, a UCF criminal justice major, says she feels this bill puts those on large campuses like UCF more at risk.
But I mean, anybody walking around with a gun, like we literally have an open campus. We have 70,000 students here. I think, that puts us even more at risk.
Those carrying a concealed weapon will need to have a valid ID on them. Failure to do so will result in a $25 fine. This bill was one of several priorities in DeSantis' agenda set for the current legislative session.
One Marine has been missing from our area since 2021.
Nightly News reporter Caitlin Simpson joins us now in the studio to talk about the missing persons case of Brian Vladeck Hassel.
If you have been on UCF's main campus, chances
December 2021. That was the last time anyone heard from Hassel before he disappeared under mysterious circumstances from the UCF area. Vlad's family went on a trip to Tennessee when a series of events unfolded in their absence.
When we got back from that trip, Vladeck was gone. So we're still trying to put the pieces together of what could have happened. There's a lot of possibilities.
According to his family, his last official sighting was at Foxtail Coffee on University Boulevard. The cam footage shows Hazel being formally trespassed from the coffee shop after reportedly making a customer uncomfortable with his pacing 2 days prior. Later on, that customer would come back and say he saw a knife on the table, prompting the trespass.
Vladek frequented Foxtail Coffee House. He frequented other businesses on University. 3 times a week he would be there.
After the incident at Foxtail, it is believed Hassel never returned home. Early reports say he went to a friend's apartment within the complex, out of breath and paranoid.
The family enlisted the help of Steve Fisher, a private investigator, to aid the search. Fisher, in partnership with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, identified a shoe found in the wooded area near the place as the same one Vlad was wearing the day he was trespassed, as seen in the image.
I think we're 95% certain that's Vlad's shoe. That can often be a sign of a struggle, like a fight goes on.
Sitting united, the family left a message for Hassel.
We love him so much. So very much. And we just need to know he's okay. Wherever you are, Vlad. We just need to know if you're okay.
For now, Hassel's location is still unknown, but his family and investigators refuse to give up.
The Florida Drug Administration has approved the first over-the-counter Narcan nasal spray. The 4-milligram nasal spray, called Nicholson, is a medicine that rapidly reverses the effects of an opioid overdose. The FDA says this paves the way for life-saving medication to be sold directly to consumers in places like convenience stores and gas stations. The Center for Disease Control estimates over 100,000 people have died as a result of an overdose.
More people to opioid overdoses more recently than heart attacks. So having every home with access to Narcan is a method that everyone can have access to this life-saving medication.
A federal agency has supported a treatment for overdose without prescription. Officials say if someone is suspected to be overdosing, to call 911 and then administer 1 dose of Narcan. One diabetes drug has been flying off the shelves of pharmacies across the nation, but not for the reasons you think.
Nightly News reporter Kennedy Collins joins us in the studio. So Kennedy, what has this medication in such high demand?
The nation is seeing a shortage of medication for type 2 diabetes, but it's not really what we'd think. Why is Ozempic so hard to get right now?
Ozempic is a brand name of medication primarily used to treat type 2 diabetes. Currently, it's one of the hardest treatments for patients to get. The medication has made headlines on social media for one of its major side effects, weight loss. Megan Bernier is in her 4th year of studying at the UCF College of Medicine and has had the opportunity to learn about the potency of Ozempic. She gives a verbal explanation on what the medication is.
Ozempic specifically is a drug for diabetes that helps lower your blood glucose and then will lower your A1C, which is often what doctors use to kind of gauge someone's management of their diabetes.
Semaglutide is the medical name for the medicine. It is sold under brand names Ozempic, Wegovy, and Ribulus. Ozempic is the most popular out of the 3. Bernier says she's not shocked about the buzz behind the drug.
Ozempic is such a great drug because it can also help a person lose weight and it lowers their risk for cardiac disease.
The FDA has not approved the drug for weight loss. However, some doctors are prescribing it to patients to curb their appetites. This brings up the question, do calories outweigh medical treatment? Celebrities like Elon Musk, Chelsea Handler, Remy Bader, and more have admitted to using semaglutide for weight loss. As people misuse the medicine, type 2 patients are losing access to treatment. Anaya Scarlett is the president of the Type 1 Club at UCF. She says she does not like how the medicine is being misused.
I actually know someone who is prescribed Ozempic, who has a very hard time refilling her prescriptions and things of that nature, just because sometimes pharmacies might be out and it might take a couple days to get some or things of that nature. So you're kind of putting those who are actually in need in jeopardy.
If you're in need of Ozempic for your type 2 diabetes, be sure to check in with your doctor to make sure a pharmacy near you has it in stock.
The FDA has been monitoring the shortage since 2022. We will continue to track for updates on the availability. Ozempic is not the only thing under fire in the medical field. Over-the-counter eye drops might actually worsen your eyesight. The CDC is investigating a surge of bacterial infection in association with certain brands of eye drops. A strain of bacteria has been found in preservative-free artificial tears that has caused nearly 100 people to contract an infection. These eye drops have been linked to dozens of infections, permanent vision loss, and surgical removal of the eyeball. Ricky Luong is a UCF alumnus. Today, he is an optometrist in the Orlando area. He explains how patients could prevent these infections from happening.
Yeah, it's definitely very easy to avoid infection if you're extra careful about what you purchase. I mean, there's best thing you do is stay up to date with your optometrist. Ask like, what brand do you recommend? A lot of times optometrists give samples away in their offices of brands they trust.
Dr. Luong also said it's important to stay current with recalls on eye drops. Back to you, Savannah and Abby.
Nightly news weather anchor Kayla Lewis joins us now at the desk.
Temperatures are starting to heat back up again. Tell us, Kayla Lewis, is there a cold front in the future?
Well, not really a cold front because it's going to be fairly hot today and going into the weekend. Temperatures are on the rise as we enter Florida's dry season, so you won't see very much rain during this time either. Our current temperature is 82 degrees with the humidity checking in at 71%. We have a nice breeze coming out of the east-southeast at 12 miles per hour. While that won't be enough to cool us down, it will be enough to keep today's temperature at bay. There's a 0% chance of rain, so today makes for the perfect day to do some fun outside activities. That's all I have for now. Back to you guys.
Coming up after the break, we take a look into a new project developed by UCF researchers that helps the bilingual community.
Plus, this week is National LGBTQ+ Health Awareness Week. Find out what UCF is doing to promote mental and physical health on campus. We'll be right back. Students in Central Florida continues to grow. A team of UCF researchers have established an English learning infused training and experience program in order to help children learn. Nightly News reporter Rachel Clark shows us how this project, Elite, is having an impact.
60% of Spanish-speaking students who move to Florida from Puerto Rico end up in the Central Florida area. Of that number, 40% of those students attend local schools like this one.
A new program established by UCF researchers called Project Elite is working to help students in VPK through grade 3 to learn English. Lead researcher Marjorie Ceballos says her main goal is to provide a support system.
I feel very strongly about helping to support all students in K-12, but particularly supporting English learners in our K-12 schools.
The program is a 3-step process that implements research-based strategies, a bilingual village, and transitional materials.
Sofia Agamez, a native Spanish speaker at UCF, says she moved to the U.S. 2 years ago and did not know much English.
I knew vocabulary, like academic vocabulary, but I didn't know specific emotions or specific things I was trying to say.
Programs like this would provide students with professional learning and individualized coaching that promotes school readiness and literacy. Co-principal investigator Vicky Zagoras-Coe says that having learned English as an adult has pushed her to become more involved.
I myself am an adult English learner. I am the granddaughter of an illiterate refugee. I've always wanted to get involved more, and I have been with community.
This program is intended to be implemented across Orange, Pinellas, and St. Lucie County this summer. In Orlando, Rachel Clark, UCF Nightly News.
Researchers say the program will begin with an initial cohort of approximately 30 scholars this summer. Following that, 4 additional cohorts will be implemented through 2027.
The last week of March is recognized as National LGBTQ+ Health Awareness Week. UCF has taken many steps to promote both mental and physical health for the LGBTQ+ community on campus. UCF offers students many resources such as LGBTQ+ services and Lavender Council, both located in the Civil Discourse and Engagement Office in the Student Union. Another resource for students is Pride Commons, located in Farrell Commons. They strive to make UCF a more equitable campus by educating the community.
Today is recognized as National Transgender Day of Visibility. This day is an annual event that happens on March 31st. It aims to celebrate the achievements and struggles of transgender people and to bring attention to the discrimination that they may encounter. The day seeks to promote a greater understanding and acceptance of gender diversity. Lavender Council member Piper Bredsoe said the ultimate goal of this day is to create a more inclusive and accepting society.
Everybody who identifies as transgender or wants to support those who identify as transgender to really uplift and support each other, to really make it known that we are here and we will not go away, and we deserve just as much respect, love, and kindness as anybody else.
Learn more about the International Transgender Day of Visibility, visit the Human Rights Campaign at hrc.org.
A team of UCF researchers is testing a new form of virtual reality technology to treat people suffering from PICS, or post-intensive care syndrome. Nightly News reporter Kayla Ayala tells us more about what they've found so far.
PICS is a term that encompasses the mental, physical, and cognitive issues that critical illness survivors face for weeks or even months after being in an intensive care unit. UCF Restores has partnered with the UCF College of Nursing to test virtual reality exposure therapy as treatment.
The idea is that we are desensitizing them so that when they encounter these triggers in their everyday lives, that they're not triggered to have flashbacks.
Therapy sessions take place once a day over a period of 2 weeks. To qualify for the study, patients must be critical illness survivors that have spent time on a ventilator or in the ICU. Using this virtual reality headset, researchers are able to customize the patient's environment, right down to the sights, sounds, and smells they may remember from their hospital visit. With the help of a UCF Restores clinician, patients identify triggers associated with their trauma. Then, using the virtual reality software, the clinician does their best to recreate the patient's experience.
When patients come in, we give them a diagnostic tool to determine if they meet diagnostic criteria for PTSD, and then we reassess that at the end. And so the patient so far, if they met diagnostic criteria for PTSD, they did not meet diagnostic criteria for PTSD once they completed treatment.
Their research is far from over, but Peach is confident this treatment will continue to help survivors reclaim their lives. In Orlando, Kayla Ayala, UCF Nightly News.
To learn more about what this program has in store for the future, you can visit their website at ucfrestores.com.
UCF hosted its first Creative Scholarship Showcase at Burnett Honors College. The event, also referred to as the Enhancing Lives Showcase, was held yesterday during Research Week. Students stood alongside their mentors with their displays that have been showcased at the Honors College for the past week. The researchers were showcased through drawings, artwork, models, posters, and more. Isabella Udante says that after studying Spanish poems throughout different periods of time, she was inspired to write her own creative piece.
It makes me feel like it was a dream come true for me as an immigrant coming from a different country.
They say she was glad she could write her thesis in Spanish, her native language. She says she can't wait to see what other students come up with in the future.
There is exciting news for some students.
Coming up after the break, we check in with Kayla Lewis, who will tell us how the weather is looking ahead.
Plus, see how our UCF Knights baseball team is preparing for the war on I-4.
Stay with us. We'll tell you more what's coming up in just a couple minutes. Sunny skies and warm temperatures are making me want to go to the beach.
I actually prefer my beach days to have a little bit of a cloud cover. So Kayla, tell us, are clouds in the forecast or are we looking at sunny days ahead?
Well, Abby, there aren't really many clouds in the forecast. We're looking at a lot of highs of the mid-80s and it's going to be really sunny out. So if you're heading to the beach, don't forget your hat and some sunscreen. Now let's take a look at today's highs. In Orlando, we're sitting at 84 currently. Tampa's high is 88. Moving up to the northern parts, we have Jacksonville at 82 and Tallahassee at 80. Now moving down south, it's going to be a little bit cooler of 81 degrees, but not a lot cooler. Now let's look at today's lows. Up in the northern part, Jacksonville and Tallahassee are both at 57 degrees, so a little bit chillier. Moving down to Orlando and Tampa are sitting in the low 60s, 61 and 62. And then again, down south, our friends in Miami, a little bit warmer of 72. But if you're heading out late at night, you may want to keep that jacket handy. Now let's look at today's 5-day forecast. Saturday's high is 90 degrees with a low of 65, and Sunday 89 degrees is a high with a low of 69. So it's going to be great weather for this War on I-4 game we're having at UCF over the weekend for baseball. Moving into Monday, we have a high of 86 and a low of 66, but a 50% chance of rain. So you may want to keep your umbrella handy if you're going out on Monday. Moving into Tuesday, we have 89-degree high and a 67-degree low with a 20% chance of rain. And then on Wednesday, a 90-degree high with a 69-degree low and a 10% chance of rain. That's all I have for you guys today. Now back to you, Savannah and Abby.
Thanks, Kayla.
Now let's check in with our partners at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University.
Meteorology minor Agat Amaran shows us what's happening across the nation.
Just as last week, the Mississippi Valley will still be experiencing severe storms, as low as Memphis all the way up to St. Louis with at least severe thunderstorms and tornadoes. That is all due to a low pressure system currently over Nebraska, which will be moving up to the Great Lakes, bringing a cold front right behind of it with a lot of snow and rain. If you are in the region of the North Dakotas all the way up to the Great Lakes, expect a lot of snow, up to 15 to 20 inches of snow, which is pretty ridiculous for this time of the year. On the other hand, California is finally moving away from their dry conditions, and Florida, on the other hand, we're currently in our dry season, so a lot of drought will be occurring during this time, and we do not know when that will be ending.
Up after the break,
we check in with the Knights baseball team as they prepare for the war on I-4. Stay with us.
I got a workout with the Ravens. I had a workout with the Bucks coming up here next week. So just trying to put more good stuff, get in front of people. And, I'm healthy. I feel good. I'm ready to go. Just keep showing what I could do so that once I get into a camp, I'm ready to roll.
The event lasted for a majority of the afternoon, starting in the gym and ending in the field house. Players were
Thanks, Gianna. That's all the time we have for right now. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week on Instagram at nightnews.ucf.edu.
And if you've got a story idea you want us to know about, send it our way. You can reach us at nightlynews@ucf.edu. Thanks for watching and have a good day.